What's good, sports gamers? And 2K has released a bunch of info regarding MyLeague Online and MyGM. And with this video, I'm going to first go over what's in store for us MyLeague Online fans heading into 2K19. So let's get it.
Sports Gamers Online is the #1 source for the sports gamer.
We'll start off by collectively rejoicing that there are now full contracts in online MyLeagues. So that keeper madness is done for. I didn't like it in fantasy leagues, and I don't like it in my 2K. It reminds me of when expansion teams come in and you gotta say who's your off-limit guys are. Nah. But with the contracts coming into the game, this also means there will be a full-on free agency period online. Who's familiar with the Madden off-season and free agency is gonna be basically a replicate of that. You have your free agents, you put a bid on somebody, but unlike Madden, we will get notifications of when players get offers, which is nice. So this means Team Builder will finally be more strategic, as before you were able to have 3 or 4 90+ rated players with a few more 80s thrown in for good measure without a care in the world. So now you gotta be smart about where your money goes. Now also, with real free agency being added to the game, we will also get real life staff signings, a real-time draft, league meetings where you can vote on different rule changes, which I could see being a lot of fun. So everything just went up a notch on the realism scale. Thank God. Admins will also get some love as they will now be able to control the pace of how leagues move, as everything will be on a timer system now, which will come in handy mostly in the off-season, where you'll be able to decide if you want to knock the off-season out one night or over a few days. And you'll be able to adjust each individually, so if you want free agency to be fast, but other parts of the off-season slow, you'll be able to do so. And if something comes up in real life and you need a certain part of the off-season to go slower or faster than what you set, it appears we'll be able to adjust that as well. Now in their effort to match everything offline to online, they've created a new league member hub of sorts that gives us the rundown of everything that's going on in the league, and we'll be able to access it just by flicking down on the right stick. The top part will show all the league members, so this will give you a quick access to the gamer tags of the guys you're not familiar with in your league, and we'll also be able to tell if they're online or not, so no more scrolling down the calendar praying for a green light. And they've mentioned in the blog this could be used also as a ready up indicator for admins, to be able to advance earlier than planned in the offseason. Another section is the notification area. So when you get that low ball trade offer, invite to a game, or something else happening in the league, we'll be able to go here instantly no matter what we were doing a second before. And the other section is the deadline area. So if you aren't sure the deadlines of events, especially in the offseason, you just go here to get the date. Now, due to people complaining about AI behavior and the sort, 2K19 is going to add a complete set of sliders that will allow us to customize the way the game does basically everything. Now they list you can customize how teams value players in trades, how much guys sign for, how much age plays a factor into trade value, how much draft picks are worth to contending teams, but we see trade their first very willy-nilly in real life, opposed to a rebuilding one who hold on to theirs for dear life. You can set the settings so it reflects that. And I don't know about y'all, but I love this. Now the things you can edit in MyLeague and MyGM are trade sliders. You'll be able to adjust players' fame importance, which will change how much a team values the player's historical contributions and name value. So you can have it where, let's say, the Knicks won't care about who's the old star, Dwayne Wade and his legacy, opposed to the Nets, who would put extra emphasis on the fact he's a name and are more likely to want him. So Wade value will be higher to the Nets in that regard, which is something I never really thought about being in the game, but I like that. Then there's also an overall ratings importance slider where teams will be more interested in a player solely on his overall, screw the fit or age. You'll be able to get draft and stash players for the low, as they aren't an immediate asset, so teams will treat them as basically a draft pick of next year. Now this one really confused me, how much of a premium on trade value teams will add for players who were recently signed by them. So does that mean if I have a guy that I recently signed in free agency, will the team he just left be more interested in him because of the fact he played there last year? And we will be able to adjust the premium on trade value teams will add for players on their untouchable list. So if you want more high-end player movement, you can lower this. Now another cool thing we'll be able to adjust is like how the NBA shifts. Big men with a post game were the cream of the crop for a minute, and now Jahlil Okafor might play in China, and Canner only gets serious minutes on the Knicks. So we'll be able to adjust the value certain player types have to teams. So you can have it where 3-point shooters are the most sought after player, or pure athletic guys. Or hey, you want a defensive player to get some shine, you'll be able to do it. So like I mentioned, you can make 3-point shooters harder to get, which we all know in real life have become pretty important. So I'm with it. If a team drafts a stud 3-point shooter, I want them to not give him away for peanuts if I decide to. Next, we'll also be able to adjust contract sliders. If you feel the player's overall doesn't match the contract he signs, we'll be able to adjust this. Can also change how important the player's potential factors into their worth and the player's durability. Wow. So if the player has a low injury rating, you might get a Steph Curry discount, it seems. There also will be a slider that lets us change how important we want minutes played the previous season to factor into a player's worth when signing a new contract. And like with trade value, we'll be able to determine how important a player's name and star power will factor into contract talks as well. And lastly, there is a player non-financial ambition slider, which basically separates the players who care about winning and fit on the team versus the guys who will go to the highest bidder. So honestly guys, I'm really impressed with how customizable everything is, and legit am kind of overwhelmed. Never imagined playing basketball games as a youngin', we would get to this point. But it's here, and I'm ready, I think. And lastly, and probably the most important with regards to MyLeague Online, are progression sliders. People, we will be able to adjust the player progression and regression rate. So basically how fast you want guys to reach their true self, and how fast players flame out once they get old. Now they get real silly with it, letting us adjust each attribute progression and regression rate. So do you want guys' layup rating to develop super fast while their 3-point rating develops much slower? Or once they're past their prime, you want their speed to start dropping rapidly while their shooting takes longer? We will have that ability to do it. Now this is something I hope Madden sees, or once they saw this announced, they stopped everything and said, hold up, we gotta add this. This is the best thing I've read out of everything, no question. This hopefully stops guys like Jason Tatum having 99-3 after 3 or 4 seasons. Trust me, I've seen it firsthand. Now regarding in-season training, we'll be able to change the training effects, which affects how quickly players progress when using the in-season training feature. And also how quickly they progress during the season at each of the available training intensity levels of rest, very low, low, medium, high, and very high. And we'll also be able to adjust how quickly they progress during the season based on their work ethic and how important the mental badges like team player you want to factor into their progression. And for those who feel like all of this is way too complicated, and for those who like me, like to get their hands dirty and play with all this stuff, there will be an option to save and upload our sliders for others to use. And lastly, and one of the most requested features from the fans, 2K19 will have a brand new creative player facial sculpting system, where you can use both presets and full sculpting sliders. So basically we're gonna see way more crazy faces this year, y'all. We'll be able to fully customize the shape and size of the skull, the brow, colorize the eyebrows, fully customize the eyes by selecting their color and controlling every aspect of the eye and eyelid with 6 sculpting sliders. The shape, size, angle, and rotation of the ears, the position, width, and prominence of the nose. It's a full rundown of everything we'll be able to change on this page. You can go to 2K's website for the whole list. And another thing that stood out was we could fully customize the style and color of the hair, while many hairstyles allow us to change the length of it. Come on, bro. A bunch of options for pattern shaved into the hair, control over your fade, and even change how you want the back of your head done. Do you get it round or sharp? This is a video game, man, oh my goodness. So when we want to create a player in MyLeague, a draft prospect in our draft class, or MyGM, we will have all these options to get busy with. I just know I'm going to go to town on this feature with my custom draft classes that I do every year for my offline franchise. But I already know way more creative people than me are going to come up with some crazy stuff with these tools. But what do you guys think of the MyLeague Online news, the sliders, and the customization of everything we'll be able to do in 2K19? Let us know in the comments down below. And stay tuned here at Sports Gamers Online for our next video shortly, where I go over all the changes to MyGM. So make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And once you're with us, hit that bell icon at the bottom so you don't miss anything we put out. I'm Chris. Thank you all for watching, and be good, y'all.